everything changes when we get together.
That's the voice of Cortney McDermott. Hi there, my name is Matthew Blades, and welcome to a special 9-episode series of bite-sized content called a microdose for the things that keep you up at night. Here's the way I look at life. Each one of us is just a sequence of words away from having everything make sense, or at least gaining more clarity. So if you're ready to make a micro investment in you and walk through topics like blowing up what you built, tuning out the noise, becoming that transitional character, improving your health, your relationships, advancing in your career, then you found the right place. Welcome to a very special Learn from People Who Lived It. This is episode 4, spirituality. Let's talk about spirituality. Gosh. What is your relationship with the spirit?
Yeah, that word I like the fact that in the last episode you were talking about the impact that that word could have on us, right? Because in general, we've been saying there's codes in words, right? And spirituality, I feel, can sometimes carry that heaviness, or can sometimes even carry a fairiness that feels foreign or uncomfortable, or maybe even excessive. Like, I've seen it also feel in ways that felt a little excessive, like someone was trying to, I think Alan Watts once said something like, my guru is better than your guru. You know, it's like almost like there's this race to get somewhere even there. For me, that you're asking it personally, spirituality, if I have to use that term, is a little bit akin to, or is totally akin to, the word that I typically will use of intelligence, right? There's an intelligence coursing through you, coursing through me. That intelligence really wants to use your form for something magnificent. And it's doing it it's doing so much. It's running pretty much the whole show anyway, right? It's beating your heart, and it's sending electrical impulses, into your legs, for instance, having you take one step or move your arm down just now, or whatever that looks like. It's doing all of that, and you don't have to any conscious directing. It's not required, right? And it's in the same way, it's rotating the planets around different stars. Like, it's doing all these things, right? So it's, for me, that essence that I would call an intelligence, or refer to in different ways, is the thing that I care about most. It's the thing that's the most important to me. It's the relationship that I want to cultivate more than any other.
I saw an Instagram video the other day that I thought was a really cool way of articulating the inner voice for all of us. And this guy, and I'll challenge everybody to do this while we're talking right now, but he said, okay, on the count of 3, I want you to say the word happiness, but you can't speak it or move your lips. Okay? But say it when I count to 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, you did great. Your lips didn't move, your mouth didn't move. I didn't hear you say happiness. We're going to do it again. On a count of 3, you're just going to say happiness, but nothing moves. 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
That's you.
Yes, and I think sometimes people can really feel confounded by something like that, because they also hear a voice that says, oh crap, I don't know if this person likes me.
Good point.
Or where should I go? I'm going to do 10 rounds of indecision on whether I should go to this party tonight. Or, what is that voice? And that's definitely not the intelligence I'm talking about. That's the thing that gets in the way of the intelligence I'm talking about. So I think the voice in your head, right? The fact, who are you? You're not the voice in your head either. You're the one who's observing, right? We know this from all our greatest spiritual traditions. They were all saying the same thing. Whatever teacher you go to is saying the same exact
Almost
thing.
identical. Yeah.
So it's like, you're not the voice in your head. You're the one who is aware that there's a voice in your head. You're the intelligence that's aware of all of that. And that's where the game's up, dude.
Yeah.
It's so simple. You're it. You're it. Everything you're searching for, you're it. Everything you're running away from, you're it. You're it. And that's what I'm saying, the game is up once you really, really get that knowledge, that awareness in your, and maybe it's less knowledge, although I do think there's knowledge behind it too, but it's the awareness of, oh, right, I can actually just watch all this. Like the same way that I'm watching the voice in my head, I could watch the birds fly by. I could watch the dolphins swim. I could watch a game on TV, like whatever. I can put my focus anywhere, but it's really that awareness. I'm aware. Yeah.
How important is spirituality to making changes in your life? How critical is being connected to something bigger than yourself or being connected to spirit?
Well, here's the thing. You are connected to something bigger than yourself. And any denial of that is, I'm sorry, I want to say ludicrous, but I'm going to say it because it's ludicrous. I mean, you're connected to something bigger than yourself because that something bigger, for instance, is coordinating trillions of biochemical reactions that are occurring in your body alone this very second. You know that you don't, it's not Matthew that has to figure out how to do that. You don't have to set up a 5-year plan for that to happen. You don't have to freak out about it not happening unless you've got something going on, something ailing you, which is because you were probably freaking out before from a previous episode like we talked about. So it's like the minute you start to tune into this intelligence has got it covered. It's taking care of business. And that's the ultimate, like you can't get away from that truth. You're not trying to figure that out for yourself and everybody else. So we can call it spirituality, we can call it by any name, but it's like the rose by any other name is still a rose, right? So it's like this intelligence is still there. You can't deny that there's something greater that you do not have conscious access to that is running the whole dang show. So the minute you kind of get that, on any level, the minute you can start to relax more into it and to come back to your question, that's the minute, once you start to relax more into it and trust more into it, that's when things really start to shift. And you do need to do that. Otherwise, you're just going to keep getting in your way, or you're just going to keep piling muck on top of the intelligence that's trying to find the best expression through you.
You said something when we were talking about coming up with this series that you're already here.
Yeah.
Like wherever you want to go, you're already there. And that's a really big, heady concept that I think some people will need to sit and have a meditation about. Yeah. How can you simplify that?
That's funny. That was the intro to my second book that really came through me. It streamed through me, the intro and the outro mostly the intro though. It was just like, I had been experiencing all of these instantaneous transformations in the physical world. And things had been happening that had no rational explanation whatsoever. Science couldn't really explain it, although I got close with some of the concepts that I was talking about with the reticular activating system or the concept of a wavicle or, these kinds of things. But the reality of it was, those potentials existed. And this is what we do know also from science. These potentials exist. They're probability outcomes that exist in a field, in a sea of probability outcomes. So the only reason, and if we were to look at this from a lab perspective, it would literally be like the scientist putting its attention on that particle that has that flash into our conscious awareness. It's really, once we extrapolate those findings and we take them out into the quote unquote real world, we become increasingly more aware that once we start to get that kind of clarity and we've decreased the muck that we have, going back to the earlier point, we start to clean out the crap that's in the way, the more we can light up those potentials. And so, it's heady in a way, I guess, if you take it out of the context of where are you putting your attention right now? Because, for example, where you're putting it is actually just, again, all that means is that that's what you're aware of. So is your attention on a fight that you had yesterday at the supermarket with some guy who was really upset and you're just going to keep your panties in a bundle about it? Or did you forget about that the second, you weren't even in part of it because he got upset and you were picking out oranges and you looked over and you smiled and you said in yourself, like you said, say happiness, right? And I'm not saying that you have to avoid or you have to be perfect or Pollyanna about stuff at all. What I'm saying is, it's really simple. It's actually not that heady. It's really simple. It's like, where's your awareness going right now? And how much can you actively switch it over so that you have more freedom in your life? So you have more space in your life.
Perfect place to wrap up. When we come back, we're going to be talking about a few things: improving your health, your relationships, the idea of playing small when you're looking to advance your career and your life. What does success look like? And then, we're going to wrap up with a discussion about money. And what's cool about this, and what I've been thinking about as you and I have been talking, is at no turn here have we talked about you focusing on anybody other than yourself. This has nothing to do with anybody else and everything to do with you. So if you're interested in continuing to make these great little microdose investments in you, stick around, because it's all about health when we see you next time.